Hello, hello. Welcome to Dumox Chess. I think today we're going to try playing, if we're black, if we're white, we're just going to play an e4 game, see what we get. If we're playing as black, I've been inspired by the semi-recent game with Timbo, and we're going to try the Niemcevich variation, which is probably not a great idea at my current skill level. But it's kind of a fun and crazy, explosive opening to play. Although, again, at this level, we'll be playing, weaker opponents, folks like me at around the 1200s, plus or minus level. So this is not a commonly played line, and I'm just curious to see how opponents would respond. So let's go ahead and start the game, see what we get. And I'm going to be white. So we're just going to open with e4, probably knight f3, yep. Maybe we're looking at a Roy Lopez situation. We'll play knight c3, just keep developing our pieces, and we are going to go with the Roy Lopez. We're playing a player close to 1200s. We're now in a position to castle if we like. Let's pause and take stock here. So I'm considering d4. I'm considering captures. I'm considering knight to d5. Probably a terrible move because that removes the sole defender from our bishop. Considering d3 as well. I am starting to favor d3 because if d4 takes, we've now got a vulnerable bishop sitting on b5. So perhaps we try and play a bit more staid of a game. We're moving d3. Okay, we'll just retreat a square. We're expecting b5. We drop back to b3. Did not play that. I think we want to pin his knight. We would expect h6. We would simply drop back. Let's do it. Okay. And at this point, I'm considering queen e2. I'm considering simply castling short. That could be interesting. Bishop to b3 at some point. If queen d2, what do we expect our friend to do? I would expect either knight to g4 or knight to h5. Knight b4 is a possibility, knight a5 is a possibility, but I'm expecting a knight move to one of those four squares. Let's do it. Let's just make sure that all of our pieces are developed. So we are removing a defender from the D pawn. g5 I feel would be a mistake. Okay, and so we do get knight to h5. Let's take stock here. Not too long because our opponent has used less than a minute of their clock. So it looks like this bishop is kind of in trouble. We're looking at knight to f4. We would like to prevent that. See, knight to d5 is tempting, but we've left this bishop hanging. That's the problem of having done that particular retreat. But let's do this. Let's trade. We're threatening the c7 square. The queen will need to defend that, I assume. You can't capture my knight. And that was probably a game-losing mistake. Okay, so we can settle down a little bit. We don't need to go trading pieces willy-nilly. I'd like to take advantage of the exposed king. He's got to be interested in activating his rooks. There's no good place for this knight at this particular moment. We could transfer the knight over to c4 in a couple of moves, starting to make inroads. But if we go that direction, well, that may just be wise because we're forcing a knight move. But if we force this knight move, it's just going to go to f4. So perhaps now is not the time to, and there's no way to protect this square with a knight. So really the only candidate we have for protecting f4 or preventing knight to f4 is using the queen. But if we move queen to e3, are there any immediate threats? No, I don't think there's any way that his knight can get to us in time. But also that's not really a preventative measure. We might have to allow that. We might have to allow knight to f3 in favor of getting our king to safety and castling. It's got to be a mistake to push g3. That has to be a mistake. Especially with his light squared bishop. Yeah, we're not going to be able to prevent that at all. So let's not worry about it. We're just going to have to get our queen out of harm's way, I think. You know what? Yeah. This might be the right move right now. So we're expecting still probably knight to f3. Candidate moves might include, what would I be thinking about? Attack the vulnerable pawn. I would be thinking about a rook move. No, he's still going to play knight to f4. It's to be expected. We'll go ahead and castle. I don't think there's much he can do by way of putting me in check at the moment. He really should be looking to develop his rooks. I mean, those are now his strongest pieces. Yep, threatening the open pawn. in response, we'll close off the queen side for his bishop, I think. Do need to start playing a little bit more quickly, although I'm not too concerned about the game. One thing that knight move does is prevents a rook moving to e8. So his position, his pieces aren't terribly active. I mean, this bishop does have... okay, right, I did not catch that, unfortunately. Did not catch that. So now we have a hanging pawn. We have to be careful about how we want to go about defending this hanging pawn. This bishop is now in a bit of trouble. That doesn't work at the moment, but if this rook comes into play... So candidate moves for me, if we can deal with this knight, would be rook to c1. I would like to do that eventually. And fair enough. We need to start looking into an endgame here. Would love to get this knight, but that's four jumps away for the knight to get all the way to d5. So the reason for rook to c1 now is captures, captures. We did not want to leave that pawn hanging. So we do have a significant advantage, but we're way down on time. We're going to have to really plow through, so I might be going quiet for a decent chunk of the game, the remaining game. Really got to start putting pressure on his king. So we still have an issue, right? Captures, captures. Now captures because we cannot recapture. So in that case, we would move rook to d1. We're still considering rook to d1. We simply have to deal with... Okay. We're going to recapture. .49 seconds to play. We're definitely cutting it close. We don't have any available checks on the king. We don't have a rook on an open file. but hopefully those problems are easily addressed. Hmm. Just marking candidate moves. That is unfortunate. That's going to cost us tempo. Drastic measures. We're going to make a sacrifice. If captures, check. We've lost this game, I'm afraid. Yeah, what a bummer. Lost on time. And solidly no longer in the 1200s rating. Let's go ahead, 4 blunders, my goodness gracious. Let's go ahead and jump into analysis. We'll give him a good sport. So far, so good. We've got a slight advantage according to the computer. Okay, that looks like it was a mistake. A3 is the top choice. Not sure I understand that. Computer recommends B5 for black. Okay, right. Yeah, okay, I do understand that. Making a series of inaccurate moves here. That's interesting. Suddenly we're much stronger. Yeah, this should have been a one game. I mean, you know, obviously from this position. And look at our clock already, you know. I mean, we are in a strong position here, but um just a bit too much dilly-dallying for a 10-minute game on my part. And he just kept poking holes, you know. I didn't catch how big of an issue this would have been. The appropriate move would have been rook to d1, or alternatively rook a to d1. And now we're starting to lose ground. I mean, that was a significant loss, right? Because the way that I set this up, this check is troublesome because black has the opportunity to capture, which I do have the opportunity to recapture, but this was I think just sloppy on my part. I'm not sure that I realized this in the heat of the moment, but captures, captures, captures. And that is how it went down. So suddenly the queen advantage has been significantly eaten into, and he has two dangerous knights on the table, and I only have high value pieces remaining with 50 seconds on the clock, and that's what led to rook takes c5, which is coming up, I believe, in my next move. Oh, okay, no, we had a few more moves to go. I wanted to kick that knight away. Okay, yeah, it's a fair bit away, I guess. I wonder if I've got a missed mate in here, perhaps. So it's recommending queen to e5 check. Oh my goodness gracious. That's disappointing, isn't it? That's disappointing. Yeah, that would have been nice. King moves to f8. And the computer is recommending rook to c7. Yeah, just poorly handled, and, you know, with just a few seconds on the clock. So good game, 0 silver 0. You got me. And until next time, maybe next time we'll get to play with the black pieces and we'll get to try out the Niemcevich. But this was an instructive game. And actually, before we close this video, it's been a bit of a long one, but let's just very briefly hop into the game review. Yeah, he just outplayed us. He just outplayed us. Let's just go ahead and see. It said I had a brilliant move, which is surprising to me. So better than knight to h5. What ought he have played here? What ought he have played here? I don't necessarily see how knight to h5 has him losing material. Nope, that wasn't it. That was a mistake, probably. At least an inaccuracy. Yeah, it's an inaccuracy. It's hard because I don't understand how this loses him material. Takes. Oh, I do understand. At a minimum, right, yeah. I don't know that it necessarily loses him material because the queen could have dropped back to d8 had he seen the threat on of knight takes c7. That was also an inaccuracy or a mistake. So maybe it's an inaccuracy, so maybe the idea ought to be, oh, nope, that's not it either. Geez, that was even worse. Oh, okay, it's good. It's okay. Oh, yeah. What I've been anyway. Silly me. Okay, so that would have been a decent move for our opponent, but let's look at best. Okay. Great move, sure, I guess. What ought black have done here? I assume castling long. Nope, that's a blunder. Oh, duh, the queen is under threat. Yeah, just move back. Wow, not a whole lot to say here, I guess. Yeah, I don't know why I didn't consider that. I missed a nice but hard to find move. I'm gonna guess it's f6, check. It's good, but it's not the right move. The video is so long already, let's just look at the best move. Oh, wowzers. Let's see why. Oh, no, I did not want to hide line. I don't understand this. This doesn't, okay, maybe, yeah. Oh, okay. Well, I guess I am mildly proud of myself. I figured this was a decent move, the sacrifice. But to be honest, it was less motivated by chess brilliance than the clock. And I was recognizing, when you're this short on time, knights are particularly dangerous, at least they are for me. Yeah, our opponent just outplayed us. So a bit of a disappointing result, but again, instructive. It does show us, we might have a fair ways to go before we're an actual 1200 player. But good to know. That's it for the day's video. Thanks, and we'll see you soon.